The billionaire's pen hovered over the gleaming contract, the final stroke that would transfer an empire into foreign hands. The boardroom held its breath, every executive leaning forward as if history itself were about to be written. But then clear, steady, and cutting through the polished silence came a voice no one expected. A young black waitress, her apron still dusted with flour from the catering table, spoke up. "Don't sign that." The room froze. A single ripple of disbelief spread across the sea of tailored suits. Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I love knowing who's listening. The billionaire. Charles Harrington turned his silver-haired head slowly, his blue eyes narrowing. His fortune had been built on steel and risk, and never had a waitress interrupted him. The others whispered, their murmurs slicing the silence like knives. Who was this girl to speak in such a place? Her name was Maya. She had been serving coffee unnoticed, yet she had watched, listened, and read more than anyone expected. Her mother, a maid in the Harrington household years ago, had raised her to see details others missed. And now, with her heart thundering in her chest, Maya saw something in the fine print of that contract, something no one else dared to notice. She hesitated, her hands trembling as a tray of empty glasses clinked softly. Should she speak again? Every stare pressed against her like a weight. But then she thought of her mother, who used to whisper, "Silence can protect you, but truth can set you free." Gathering her courage, Maya stepped closer. "The clause on page 17, she said, her voice steadier now. "It gives away not just your company, but your patents, your workers' pensions, and even your family's name. They've buried it under legal jargon." Gasps echoed around the room. A few executives shuffled their papers in panic, realizing she was right. But the foreign investors at the table smiled coolly, like predators caught in the act yet unashamed. Charles's hand trembled for the first time in years. Could it be true? That his empire, his father's legacy, was about to be stolen in broad daylight? The air thickened with tension, every breath shallow. Maya braced for his wrath, ready to be dragged out by security. But Charles didn't shout. Instead, he fixed his gaze on her, studying her with the same intensity he once reserved for rival tycoons. "How do you know this?" he asked, his voice low, dangerous. She swallowed hard. "Because I've studied contracts like these at night. After shifts. I can't afford law school yet, but I learn. And I won't let you sign away what so many families depend on." For a moment, no one moved. The fluorescent lights hummed above, a stark contrast to the silence below. And then it happened. Charles dropped the pen. The sharp clink against the table rang like a bell of truth. Whispers turned to applause from a few brave souls in the room. Executives who had been too afraid to speak now nodded, relief flooding their faces. The investors stood abruptly, their polished smiles cracking into fury. They gathered their papers and stormed out, defeated by the courage of a waitress who refused to stay silent. Charles rose to his feet, his voice strong but softened by awe. "You saved me from making the greatest mistake of my life," he said. Then, almost tenderly, he added, "What's your name?" "Maya," she whispered, breathless. That day, the billionaire didn't just save his empire. He offered Maya something more, an opportunity. Not charity, but recognition. "If you can see through deception that even my lawyers missed," he told her, "then I want you on my team. No, by my side." And as she left the boardroom, the same room where her mother once polished silver trays, Maya knew she had rewritten not just a contract, but her destiny. Because kindness doesn't vanish, it waits, and it finds its way back. The girl who warned a billionaire had become the woman who changed his world. If this story moved you, share your thoughts in the comments, subscribe for more powerful stories, and remember, sometimes the smallest voice carries the greatest truth.